Hi, and welcome to the Bee's Knees podcast. This is your host, PJ Ewing. Today we have an interview with a very influential and very important person in the world of knee surgery and recovery. Her name is Marie Buckner, and she's noted mostly for her blog and website and community, which you can find at booktoots.com. Her journey began in 1975 with a somewhat horrific car accident, and that set her on a path of recovery that lasted many years. 12 years ago, she ended up having a knee replacement surgery, and that really is the origination of this Booktoots healing website and the community that she has created there. It is a global organization, a global community. It's very, very large. It wins awards consistently from the various folks that give awards for blogs. And in this case, we have a chance to hear from the source herself all about really her history and how this whole thing happened. So I'm very pleased here at the Bee's Knees podcast to share my conversation with Marie Buckner from Booktoots Healing.
Welcome to the Bee's Knees, a podcast full of articles, interviews, clinical studies, and advice about knee surgery, physical therapy, and life after knee surgery.
Okay, well, I'm originally from the Detroit area, and I had a knee replacement. It's been about 11 years ago. And I was talking to some friends about it, and unless you go through the experience yourself, you just don't understand it. So I was feeling kind of alone and, just despondent. So I started writing about it. I've always had an enjoyment of writing. English composition was one of my strong points in school. So anyways, I started writing about it on Booktoots, and to my surprise, I started having people visit the site and sharing their experiences and realizing that they were not alone, which in turn helped me feel less alone. And it was wonderful. So, I've always believed also that it's important to help others, to let others feel that they're not alone and that, someone is there to listen. So it's developed into a strong community, and it's just wonderful to know that, the site's helping people and that my words mean something to people, and it's wonderful to be able to share that. And then it's developed into a community where there's, last time I checked, it was 750,000 international readers, and people feel comfortable sharing their experiences and commenting, and it's just wonderful. And in addition to operating the site, which was just, I found out last week, it was rated one of the top 50 total knee replacement blogs in the world by FeedSpot. So, I was thrilled when I got that email. And it's also been listed as one of the top knee replacement blogs by Healthline.com. And then also, I'm a patient leader with We Go Health, which is a patient advocacy site. And just this week, I actually got approached by someone that wants me to provide some insight into the aging population and the flu and total knee replacement. So, it's nice to be able to help people and to write about it. And when I'm not writing, I enjoy music. I play the flute. So I entertain, and it's wonderful. Music hits everybody at some level, and it's wonderful to be able to share that gift.
Amazing.
So I hope that helps others get some insight into.
Yeah, well, a little bit, but I want more, Marie. I want more.
Oh.
Where did this wonderful desire to help people come from? You said you grew up in Michigan. You don't live in Michigan anymore. Tell us about your early days and then leaving Michigan and where you live now and that kind of stuff.
Okay, well, my early days, I think it all started by wanting to help people, because my great-grandfather was, he was a diabetic and then eventually became a paraplegic, so he was in a wheelchair, and it was wonderful to be able to help him out, and to also see how he helped other people. And one of the ways that he helped was he played harmonica. So as a little kid, we would sit on the floor and then listen to him, and he played a mean harmonica, and that's what instilled my interest in music. And then once I started playing the music, I saw how people's faces would light up. And they always had stories to share, and it was nice to know that I could help elevate someone's mood by playing music, and also have people help me get elevated by hearing music. So it started at a young age to be able to help people out, and I've always firmly believed in helping people that, like wheelchair-bound or have mobility issues or have some kind of issue. It's just, life is worthless if you can't help people. So that's,
you took flute lessons at a young age, did you?
Oh, yeah. Well, I started in second grade. It was called the flutophone, and we played that for 2 years. And the purpose of that was to get us affiliated with how to read music and fingering the instrument at the same time. And then in fourth grade, in summer band, we got our real instruments. And to this day, I still remember everybody else in the band was making all kinds of noises with their new instruments except for us flutes, because you can't just blow into the hole to get a sound out. So we each had to have a private tutor help us, develop our embouchure, which is how you form your mouth to get music.
Do you still play now? Do you still play?
Yes, I do.
I
sure do.
What do you play? What do you play? What kind of music?
Well, it depends. If I play at weddings, it's usually classical. Classical, sometimes modern. It just basically they can tell me the kind of genre they want, and I'll come up with some music, or they'll just totally leave it up to me, and I find that classical goes over well. And I entertain at retirement communities, and that's wonderful because that's really a forgotten generation, and they have such wonderful stories. Music touches everybody, and I feel very privileged to share that. And when I'm playing for retirement communities, they love to hear those old campfire songs, sing-alongs, like Daisy, Daisy, or Red River Valley. And then I occasionally have someone come up and say, do you have any Mozart by chance? And they're usually the ones that are, the former retired symphony pianists and opera singers. So it's nice to do that. And I'm currently taking songwriting lessons, and that's a blast. There's just so much to learn, so that's kind of cool stuff. I had a holiday gig last year, and the reason that I was brought in for the entertainment was because his owner, it was a husband and wife, had a private party at their house. And the reason they wanted me to come in was their daughter had graduated from Juilliard, but she gave up the flute because she got into drugs and drinking. And her parents wanted to bring in a flutist and, just kind of maybe inspire. And I didn't know that their daughter had that background. I knew that she had some kind of musician background, but when I found out it was Juilliard, I just went, why aren't, you went to Juilliard, you graduated from Juilliard? Oh, yeah. Why aren't you doing that? Why aren't you doing anything? You've got a gift. Oh, I don't know. I'm like, oh, man, that's a huge accomplishment to go to Juilliard and graduate. I played songs like White Christmas, which is wonderful.
Right. Meanwhile, we're trying to change a life here, Marie, and you're over there playing Crosby. Oh, boy. Wow. Oh, that's pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting.
I can imagine.
They said, well, play whatever you want. And I love that song, It's a Wonderful World. I love that song. So I was playing that, and then that's when I noticed two of the people in attendance. It was a father and a son, and the son was in a wheelchair. And I looked at them when I was playing, and the father had that faraway look in his eyes, and then the son, his eyes started to tear up. I'm going, oh, man. This song has some kind of impact on them. And then they came up to me afterwards and thanked me that they hadn't heard that song in a while, and it brings back such good memories. And, it's such a privilege to be able to share the music and know that it touches someone. I'm just a conduit, for my flute, and it's just wonderful. So that's one of the ways that I like to help people. Music and my words.
Right.
So.
And you left Michigan, and you're now on the West Coast, right?
That's correct. I currently live in the Seattle area. I lived in Florida for 10 years. I moved down there at the time because the unemployment rate in Michigan was so high. It was when the auto industries were really downsizing and jobs were very scarce. So my partner and I moved down to Florida, and I lived down there for 10 years, and I loved it from October to March. And from March to October, it is very hot and humid down there, and I just reached a point where I knew I loved the water, and I had never been around the mountains. So I got on the internet and started doing some research, and California was out of the question because it looked like there was too many people there. And then at the time I had passed the CPA exam. So, I was working in accounting, and I checked into Oregon, and, Beaverton looked interesting. So I called the chamber there, and they said that, there was 3 high schools, a lot of traffic. Nah. Then I got a mailing from Washington, from Vashon, Washington. And it turns out when I did research, Washington had a grandfather clause in place so that you could transfer the CPA over here from another state. I went, cool. So that's where I ended up in Vashon for a bit, and then I've been here since, and I love it. I love the Northwest. But it rains here all the time, so you don't want to move here.
No, you don't want anyone to move there because you want it to yourself. I get it.
That's
I know
right.
how that works.
That's right.
We're closed. We don't want any more. I know that the Californians have a bad reputation up your way, don't they? Because they like to run up there.
Uh-huh.
Where did the Booktoots name come from?
That's a good story. The book came from, I was starting to write books. That was my goal, to start writing books about the experience, because in 1975 I was in a car accident. That's what caused a fractured femur, which led to arthritis in the knee, and I was in a body cast for 2 years. So I figured, well, I've had a lot of people ask me to write a book about that. So I figured, well, I'll start writing a book about that. And then the Toots actually comes from, I'm a huge Three Stooges fan, and when they're around high-class women, they always call them Toots. Hey, Toots, how you doing? So I thought, Booktoots. So it ends up Booktoots, and that's how I got the name.
Got it.
But the blog itself just basically took off with the total knee replacement, so that's what it's
really amazing.
on.
Marie, it's amazing. It's not a long period of time since you had the surgery, obviously the knee replacement, many years after you had that accident. But, the amount of people that you've reached, obviously, with the power of the Internet, wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to get an email from people all around the world that, are just sharing their experiences, and that's fun.
Really,
Good
really
old
fun.
Yeah.
So let's focus on the Booktoots. I now want to say Booktoots, but Booktoots site, and give us a little oral, verbal tour of what's there and who it's for, and just the nature of the blog and the site.
Okay. Well, the main focus of the site itself is on total knee replacement, and I have updates for like so many months after the surgery, so people that are going through that phase, can just look at the blog posts and share their experiences or know they're not alone. And then I also have a lot of exercise posts about what's easy to do. You don't really need to go to a gym. And then I find that sharing that helps people realize they don't have to have a lot of money in order to recuperate. And then I write about I write about other things besides the total knee replacement, such as having a broken jaw, having double vision, having a fractured C1. I write about those also, and I get responses from that. And then since I wear a almost 2-inch shoe lift, I have written about that also, and it's interesting because I've had people respond with their stories and then also ask me, well, do I know of sites where they can donate some shoes? So I'm helping people out in that way. We're actually helping each other out, and it's nice. I've shared different sites. They're usually nonprofits that accept the shoe donations, and that's kind of cool. And then what's very helpful for my readers is I have a search bar in there. So when they have a topic that they're really interested in, they can just type it in the search, and it'll bring up different posts because I have over 950 posts that I have written. And it'll bring up the different links to the the posts that they can read and comment on if they want. And one of the things that I'm very proud of is the fact that when someone sends a comment or they post a comment on my site, I personally respond. And when I first started doing that, I didn't give it much thought because it was just common sense to me. But then I started hearing from people that they posted to so many blogs and never had a response, that they were surprised to actually get a personal response. So I believe that's one of the reasons that, the site is so popular. And, it's just wonderful. And then I sell, I've authored books. One of the most popular ones is Preparing for a Total Knee Replacement, Patient's Perspective on Preparing for a Total Knee Replacement, or TKR. And people can just buy that. It's paid through PayPal. And once I get the information that the payment's been processed, I forward the document to them, the PDF document, via email. And then I've also written a water exercise book because I love to swim and do water aerobics. So as part of, my exercise regime, I just developed exercises and also enhanced the ones that I knew already existed. So I have this book that contains these exercises that can help people out, and it's either in deep water, shallow water, or just sitting on the stairs. So it's different phases that can help people out, but they're tried and true because I do them all the time. So it's nice to share those with people. And then my books are also sold via Amazon. I have one that's popular that's called Dealing with Insomnia After Total Knee Replacement. That is a compilation of patient stories. It's over 100 stories. And I find that people purchase that book when they want to know that, they're not alone and read other stories. And I've had a couple people comment that, they're glad they got the book because, it was one of the nights when they couldn't sleep. And they just read through other stories to realize they weren't alone. And the reason I wrote that blog post originally, which sent all these people to comment, was the fact that during recuperation for 10 months solid, I did not sleep more than 2 hours per night. And I'm going, because I wasn't on pain meds. So, I was just frustrated, and that was part of the deal. I just got on the site and started writing about it. So then I authored a book also about living with the after effects of a broken jaw, fractured mandible. And that's sold on Amazon. And then there's an awards and recognition page, which I post, of course, the awards that I've received, like the WeGo Patient Leader and the Healthline.com, the best-rated Best of TKR blogs, which is cool. And then I believe I just put that Speed Spot one on there. So
you did, and you know what's funny, Marie, is you're so successful, right? And you're so modest. You had written, I'm one of the top 50 knee replacement blogs for knee surgeons and patients, right? Isn't that nice? You're number 7. You're not like top 50. You're top 10. You're much bigger than you think you are.
Wow.
Yeah, you're number 7, or I think it is. I believe it was number 7. But
holy.
Yeah, you're somebody. You're Just for those who are listening, I want to say that a lot of these links, I'll try to capture as many as possible, are going to be in the show notes for this particular interview. So there will be 10 links. So if you're listening on Apple, you can actually just look at the notes and go to some of the links, and I'll have them all there for you. Of course, you could just directly go to booktoots.com and start poking around. I know you'll find it. The search bar would be instrumental in that. But I'll try to make it as easy as possible to find the books, as well as to find some of these other great blogs. I mean, you get 300 or 400 comments on some of these blogs, don't you?
Yes. The 8 months after the TKR, I believe it's over 450. And the dealing with insomnia has been, I think it's about 150.
How do people find you? Do you ask them, like, they end up there somehow? How did they get there?
Yeah. Well, a lot of it is word of mouth, and then also I find I get some people from the WeGo Health site and also from Healthline, and I reach out and regularly submit my site to searches, like Bing, Yahoo. I do that myself, and then also to website submission sites. I list my blog there, and then it's also on different blog directories. I do that. I do it all myself, so it takes time, but it's worth the results. So
good for you. Smart.
Thanks.
Really smart.
Thanks.
Smart to do that. Are there things you're doing looking forward that are going to be things that we want to tell people about right now in terms of developments on the site or other books or initiatives that you've got going?
I have been approached to write a book about how caregivers can help out a total knee replacement patient. So I'm in the midst of writing that. And then I'm also in the midst of developing my website, so it's rather easier to maneuver around with, because I've written so many blog posts. Even though someone can look through the categories, I have each post categorized. They can go to my right sidebar, which is on the right side of the page. So you can just click on that, and it'll have a drop-down menu of all the categories, how many posts are in that category. People can do that. But in the meantime, I want to make it a little easier. So I'm in the midst of developing that, and I'm in the midst of developing an email newsletter and a podcast. So, there's a lot I'm working on, which is nice. And I've got a Facebook page they might want to visit, which it's called Booktoots Healing. And what I do there is it basically, with every post that I write, I put it over onto the Facebook, because people like Facebook.
Yeah.
People love Facebook. Can I throw something in here?
No.
At the very
okay.
Well, I will anyways. No.
You will anyways.
I was being polite. No.
I know you were so polite. They're rude, PJ. Good God.
Anyways, when we first started talking, you asked me to tell you about myself. Well, one of the reasons that I had the knee replacement was, as I mentioned earlier, it was from a fractured femur and the arthritis in my knee. Anyways, that was all the result of a car accident, which happened on December 13th, 1975. And that I had a closed head injury, and there was subdermal hematoma with, now I believe it's called a brain bleed. But then I also, because my head hit the dash and went through the window, there was nerve palsy and, a damaged nerve, weak muscle in my left eye, which caused strabismus, which is double vision. I still have that, but I have a prism to correct most of it. And then I fractured my jaw, and that required surgery. And then, I'm going from top to bottom. I fractured my C1, which is a cervical vertebrae, which to this day I have shortness of breath every day. But I learned to live with it. And then, there was 3 fractured ribs on my right side, which punctured my kidneys and caused internal bleeding. And then there was the fractured femur, and that wasn't healing properly. So what they had to do was to take a bone graft from my hip, put that on a steel rod, and then implanted that into my femur. And I had that in for a while. I was in a body cast before that was done. Yeah, and when the femur wasn't healing properly, that's when they thought they'd do the exercise, the surgery to put the steel rod in. Well, I was out and about after that whole fiasco, and then I fell on some ice and refractured my femur. So the second fracture happened above where the steel rod was located. So I had to go back into the hospital. They did the surgery, took out the steel rod, and then put me back into a body cast. So, so that while that was all done, I remember when I had the last body cast taken off, the doctors asked me if I wanted to take it home, and I just looked down and go, "What am I going to do with it? Hang it on the wall?" And it just, well, some people like to keep their cast as a, reflection and remembrance of what they do. I don't want that thing. No, take it. So that's how that all came about. And then what I found very interesting is the doctors at that time said, "You have arthritis in your right knee. It's not going to bother you now, but give it 30 years down the road and you're going to start having problems." And it was almost 30 days to the month that I ended up having the knee replacement. Oh, wow. That's kind of very interesting.
Yeah, right on target.
Yeah.
Right on target. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, they're kind of smarter than we think they are sometimes. Just kidding. They're very smart.
You've been thrown some real curveballs in this life, haven't you?
Yeah, but got to learn to deal with them. And then one of the deals was when I was recuperating from my knee replacement, I had someone tell me to just suck it up because, it's hard. When you first have the knee replacement, your entire leg is a complete dead weight because they have to cut into your quadriceps. So anyways, I had people just tell me, "Oh, you can do it if you really want to." And it's like, no, I can't even move my leg. "Oh, you can." So that's one of the things I had to deal with, and that's one of the reasons I started the blog, because people that didn't know any better, "Well, you can do it." Well, no, I can't. But I want to. I always believe that mind overrules body, but there are definitely some times when it doesn't. So that's all I got to say about that.
Well, I'll say a silly thing, which I do a lot. When you're given lemons, you make lemonade, right? And you have been, given the gift of a lot of pain and a tremendous number of surgeries and a whole bunch of recoveries. And in that process, you have learned and have, taken advantage of this misfortune that you've had that many, many people have not had to endure. And now you are paying it forward, another silly phrase, but there you are out there sharing and helping and creating just on your own. It's all organic. It's, you're smart. You're sharing the website in the right places, but you're just doing it because you want to help people. And lo and behold, you're out there, winning awards and becoming, obviously in quotes, an influencer in this particular area of the world, and it's really admirable. It's really
thank you. I appreciate that.
More power to you. That's why I wanted to interview you, because I'm like, what? I kept looking at lists of, who's doing what, right? And there's this Booktoots thing. I'm like, what is it? Who is this? Who is this lady? I got to figure that out. I got to learn. And to be honest, I'm hoping that your own audience hears this, because I don't know, have they had a chance to hear you speak about this? I mean, have you been recorded? Have you done this kind of stuff before?
No.
Yeah. There's a chance. And all these people who've read your words and have been influenced by you and saved by you in so many ways, and they don't really, this is a way to get to know. So what don't we know about Marie right now? What have we missed about you and your background and what you do?
Well, I have an advanced degree in business administration, specializing in accounting and minoring in psychology. And I worked in corporate America for, probably 40 years, passed the CPA exam. And I used to own a natural foods business where I authored cookbooks and had a newsletter and also did cooking classes. So that's one of the reasons I like to write. I develop recipes and I write articles on that because I believe 100% in holistic healing. I don't take any medications now, and that's kind of unique for, tomorrow's my birthday. I'm going to be 65. And I'm not on any medications. So I'm very proud of that. And I exercise regularly. I've always placed an importance on exercise, and I think, ever since I was a kid, I was one of those half tomboys and half girly girls. I had friends that just played with dolls, so I'd play with them. And then, I used to love to get the gardener snakes because we grew our own food. I'd get these little gardener snakes and chase after my sissy friends. And I loved doing that. They'd just start screaming. And anyways. And then I also had, I was always involved in sports. I used to be a field goalie, for the team. So that was kind of cool. And I was a good baseball player, and I've always loved to be physical. I like to take care of my health, and I just don't understand people that don't. But I'm very proud of being able to exercise, and when you can exercise, just do it. So, anyways, did I tell too much?
No, my gosh, you're kidding. I love it. This is why we're doing this,
okay.
Really. We're going to miss happy birthday, and I want to. I'll be the first because it's not your birthday until tomorrow. But this is going to come out obviously after your 65th birthday. But we're all going to wish you a belated. Everyone who hears this, you have to go to the website and you have to make a comment and share a well-wishing message. It's booktoots.com, and the email is. Do we share your exact email? Is that how should we do that?
You can, sure. It's either Marie B. Yeah, it's Marie B at booktoots.com, or I also get them through booktoots35, the numeral 35, at gmail.com. Okay.
So we all get to go and wish you happy birthday at one of those two places.
Thank you.
It's a big day. It's a big deal.
65,
Do you have anything special planned for your 65th?
Oh, well, I'm going to go see Bob Seger.
Oh, my gosh. Seriously?
Yeah, I know. And it's the third time. What's that?
I saw him long ago, and it was a power outage right in the middle of the concert, and it was we had to sit there. We all sat there for like 10 minutes, like no one could. He didn't even have a microphone. We were just kind of stopped, and then it was in Detroit. I don't remember the venue. Probably a big one, Cookbooks Hall, maybe, probably.
Oh, yeah. I first got introduced to Bob Seger when I was 10 years old, like in 4th grade. He used to play at the Garden City Park, and it was 25 cents. Then it went up to 50 cents, and then during the Woodstock era, he did a lot of free concerts. And I remember him back with the Last Herd. I was just listening and watching some of those YouTube videos. But anyways, I've been a big fan of his for the longest time, so that'll be nice to see. And then there's also an air show. I love aviation. There's an air show with the Royal Air Force. It's their aerobatic team, the Red Arrows. And that's going to be in Oregon this weekend, so I'm hoping to catch that on Sunday. Saturday is Bob Seger, and Sunday is the Red Arrows.
That's a celebration. That's a celebration. Wow. All right, Marie. Well, thanks again, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the new stuff that you're doing on this new site.
Thank you very much, and thank you to your listeners, too. Without them, we couldn't do anything.
To learn more, visit x10therapy.com, 1-855-910-5633. Just a reminder, it's a huge help if you subscribe to, rate, and review our podcast. It helps people find us.
X10. Back to